grammatically corrected text is The Story of Mount Everest, a journey through time, nature, and human endeavor. Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, has captivated the hearts and minds of adventurers, scientists, and dreamers for centuries. Rising 8,848.86 meters, 29,031.7 feet above sea level, it stands as a symbol of human determination, the mystery of nature, and the beauty of the Earth's highest realms. To fully understand this magnificent mountain, we must look at its past, present, and future, an unfolding story that intertwines discovery, exploration, culture, environmental concerns, and the very forces of nature that shaped the Earth. The past, discovery, and early legends. For centuries, the towering peak of Mount Everest went largely unnoticed by the wider world. Local Tibetan and Nepali people, however, were aware of its existence. To them, Everest, known as Chomolungma in Tibetan and Sagarmatha in Nepali, was not just a mountain, it was sacred. Revered as the goddess mother of the world, it was a place of spiritual significance that was rarely approached by outsiders. For the Sherpas, indigenous people from the region, the mountain was a part of their identity, and while they recognized its power, they respected the land by never climbing its summit. Mount Everest remained an enigma until the 19th century when British explorers started to map the region. The mountain was initially part of a massive survey to map the entire Indian subcontinent. In 1852, British Surveyor General Andrew Waugh identified Everest as the highest mountain on Earth, and by the late 1800s, efforts to summit the mountain were beginning to take shape. However, it wasn't until the early 20th century that serious expeditions were launched. In 1921, the British launched the first reconnaissance expedition to Everest. This was followed by more expeditions in the subsequent decades. The names of these early explorers became immortalized in the history of Everest. George Mallory and Andrew Irvine are perhaps the most famous, though Mallory's final words before disappearing into the mountain in 1924 still echo through time. Because it's there. The present, Everest in the modern world. In the 1950s, the world's fascination with Everest reached a peak, no pun intended, when Sir Edmund Hillary from New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay, a Sherpa of Nepal, became the first climbers to successfully summit Everest on May 29, 1953. Their triumph not only made history, but also opened the floodgates for mountaineers worldwide. Since then, Everest has become a coveted destination for those seeking the ultimate challenge. Today, the Everest Base Camp Trek has become one of the most popular treks in the world, attracting thousands of trekkers annually. For many, the experience of walking amidst the majesty of the Himalayas is a once-in-a-lifetime journey, and for the seasoned climber, summiting the mountain is the pinnacle of their career. However, the increasing number of climbers has brought a host of challenges. The allure of standing on top of the world has led to a surge in mountaineers, with permits being granted to hundreds of climbers each year. As the number of visitors has risen, so have the environmental concerns. The influx of climbers, trekkers, and tourists has led to significant environmental degradation, especially around base camp foods where waste accumulates at alarming rates. Discarded oxygen canisters, climbing gear, and even human waste litter the slopes. The Nepalese government has since imposed strict regulations to limit the number of permits, though the problem of waste management remains a significant concern. The Sherpas, who play a critical role in guiding climbers to the summit, are integral to Everest's climbing culture. Over the years, the Sherpas have become the unsung heroes of the mountain, taking on the dangerous task of leading expeditions while also facing risks of their own. In 2014, the deaths of 16 Sherpas in an avalanche brought global attention to their plight, highlighting the dangerous nature of the work and the need for better safety measures and higher compensation for the Sherpa community. Beyond the human impact, the mountain's biodiversity is another testament to its harsh and fragile ecosystem. At higher altitudes, life becomes sparse, but around the base and lower elevations, species like the snow leopard, Himalayan tar, and various birds thrive in the rocky terrain. The rare pika, a small mammal, is another inhabitant of the Everest region. These creatures endure extreme conditions, adapting to survive in a place where life seems impossible. The future, a mountain at a crossroads. Mount Everest's future is uncertain, with the pressures of tourism, environmental degradation, and climate change threatening its fragile ecosystem. One of the biggest concerns is climate change foods, which has caused the glaciers and snow on the mountain to retreat at alarming rates. The Khumbu Glacier, one of Everest's primary glaciers, has been rapidly shrinking, which affects not only the climbers' routes, but also the water sources for the local communities downstream. While these changes bring about challenges, there are ongoing efforts to ensure that the future of Everest is sustainable. Waste management initiatives, such as the Clean Everest Project Foods, have been implemented to remove garbage from the mountain, and climbers are now required to bring down their waste. The government of Nepal has also taken steps to impose higher fees for climbing permits to regulate the number of people attempting to summit the mountain. Ethical climbing practices are becoming more prominent, with both climbers and Sherpas pushing for greater recognition of the risks involved. For the Sherpas, better wages, insurance, and medical care are essential to improve their working conditions, especially considering their indispensable role in helping tourists and climbers achieve their goals. Environmental organizations are also working closely with local authorities to monitor the effects of glacial melt, deforestation, and pollution in the region. In addition, there is a growing demand to respect the sacred significance of Everest to the local communities. Mountaineers, trekkers, and climbers are urged to maintain a spirit of reverence for the mountain and the people who call it home. Conclusion: a sacred mountain under siege, Mount Everest has evolved from a mysterious and sacred mountain to a global symbol of human ambition and perseverance. It is a place where human dreams and nature's power intersect, with both positive and negative consequences. While it remains an awe-inspiring destination, Everest's future hangs in the balance due to the pressures of human activity and the changing climate. The coming years will require careful management, respect for local cultures, and a commitment to sustainable tourism. As the mountain's ecosystems struggle to adapt to the realities of climate change, humanity must also adapt, finding ways to protect this iconic peak and the communities that depend on it. Mount Everest is not just a challenge to conquer, but a reminder that we must tread lightly on the Earth's most precious and fragile places. As we look to the future, it is essential to balance our thirst for adventure with the respect and care this majestic mountain deserves. Key takeaways: height, 8,848.86 meters, 29,031.7 feet. Location: border between Nepal and Tibet, China. Significance: the highest point on Earth, revered by local communities. Biodiversity: home to a variety of species, including snow leopards, yaks, and pikas. Challenges: overcrowding, environmental degradation, and climate change. Sustainability efforts: focus on waste management, ethical climbing, and preserving the mountain's natural beauty. The story of Mount Everest is still unfolding, and as it continues to captivate the world, it also teaches us valuable lessons about humanity's relationship with nature, respect for the environment, and the importance of conservation.